Hi everyone, 大家好. This is Jingwei, and today I'm going to discuss with everyone about the possibility of using a dark damage over time team comp which utilizes Theresa. So many people have been curious about how viable Theresa is in late game. As shown in my guide video about her, many people in late game still use her solely as a CC support because she is great. So some people have been asking if she is viable for a damage over time team because she is a Kafka dupe. Okay, so while this is generally out of the meta, there is a specially curated dark team that revolves around Plague, and Theresa is required for that team. The problem is that this is a very high investment team which is very into late game, and it is very difficult for anyone to build, which is why there is not much users, but it definitely works, and it actually works pretty well. The main problem is that all the required units for this specialized dark team are limited, so you guys will have to use the budget version for now. Okay, so first, I obviously lost. Anyway, let's go through why the Plague team is actually viable. So let's head on to Theresa, and it's in Chinese, but you guys can just read from your game. So almost every single damage over time effect in this game have a maximum stack except for Plague. Plague does not have a limit, so you can stack as many as you want. The problem with Plague is that it requires the opponent to take 2 actions before the damage can happen. So before Plague can even take effect, it is usually cleansed most of the time, which is why it is not so viable. But with the addition of Theresa, who is able to detonate all the Plague with her 3rd skill, this makes Plague a worthy inclusion. Okay, although it is chance based, 70% at level 3 is quite okay, so you can take the chance. Okay, so first let me explain the 3 core units that revolve around this dark team. Okay, so let's remove all the useless people. Okay, so the first one is Guna, obviously, and then followed by Theresa and Elsa. So as you can see, these 3 are all limited units, with Guna being true limited and Elsa and Theresa being standard limited. And 2 of them have not been released yet, which is why you guys may not be able to build the dark damage over time team for now. Okay, so first let me briefly go through their skill description. So I'm sure most of you are familiar with Theresa's skill. Her first skill is a AoE that can inflict Plague and chance to inflict bind. So great. And then her normal attack will hit 2 enemies and also chance to inflict Plague. Her 3rd skill is to detonate Plague, and her 4th skill is just to boost Plague damage. So let's move on to the Elsa now. Elsa. Okay, so I'll just briefly explain. Her first skill will target the back row of enemies like the vampire girl, and at level 3 there is a 100% chance to inflict the turn skip on a random enemy in the back row. So yeah, and it also has a chance to inflict Plague. For her skill 2, she can heal the team after every time she takes an action. Okay, for her 3rd skill, she has a chance to cleanse a CC debuff from an ally, which is great, one of the best actually, I believe. And for her 4th skill, she applies a team-wide damage resistance buff to the team, and she will also cleanse a random debuff from the team and transfer all the debuffs to an enemy in the backline. Okay, and lastly we have Guna, our queen, damage dealer queen. So she is just a very standard single target DPS. She has 2 phases, a single target and an AoE, chance to inflict Plague, and also chance to reduce opponent's rage. And her 2nd skill basically is a first turn burst like LK, but much better. Okay, Guna is too much to explain. Okay, you guys can just read her skills in the spreadsheet. Okay, so just know that these 3 units are perfectly capable of inflicting Plague themselves. Okay, so which is why they are needed. The problem with this team, as I said, that is that it requires high investment. For this team to actually work, Theresa has to be 12 stars because you want her to actually detonate the plague. So if you don't detonate it, then there's no point. And then Elsa has to minimally be 10 stars to ensure she has the guaranteed CC. Okay, so the main workings of this DoT team is that in late game, most of the units will have their burst in the first turn already. So everyone can cast their skills in the first turn. So let's start with Elsa. Elsa can 100% CC a back row unit and inflict plague. She can heal every turn and debuff, and cleanse debuff. Guna can inflict plague and her whole kit is great for dark teams. And Theresa can also 100% CC a unit and also inflict plague. So assuming that these 3 units cast their skills in the first turn, the opponent team will have 2 units that are disabled, so they are not able to move. So if this CC happens to land on their Themis, then the chance of this plague being cleansed are much lower. Okay, so that's how you can stack plague with this team on the enemy, and then Theresa can detonate it at the end to make the damage work. Okay, so apart from these 3 core units, we can move on to the other 3 units that are for this team. So first, you can definitely consider Bar, which is your tank for this team. And then you can go for Themis, obviously, for your healing. And the last one is honestly a really flexible slot. You can put in Adele for her bleed, or you can put in the Vampire Girl, because she also buffs plague damage and ensures that her plague will not be cleansed. So these are just examples of the endgame team of which utilizes plague. Okay, so let me show you guys an example of a user who uses this dark DoT team. Okay, so here we have Bar, Elsa, Theresa, Mo Chen, Adele, and Guna. And then the assist slot is twins. So you may wonder why this guy is not using Themis. How is he gonna survive? Okay, so he is able to skip on Themis because of his 3-star bar. At 3-star bars, not 3-star, oh my god, I'm sorry. At 13-star bar, he is able to shield. He's a guild, he's a dark guild, so he's able to tank damage for other units. But a maxed bar at 13 stars is able to block damage for every single unit on your team. So this allows him to skip out on Themis and put in another damage dealer. So yeah, and you may ask, how does he survive? So Elsa has her team. Elsa heals every team. No, I mean, sorry, salah already. Okay, Elsa heals every turn and it's a team-wide heal, so that's great. And then coupled with Guna and Mo Chen, both of them have rage reduction abilities that can reduce enemies' rage and prevent them from using their skills. And then Elsa and Theresa also has the guaranteed CC. So you can see this whole team is very, very focused on debuffs. With Mo Chen and Guna being able to prevent enemies from using their skill by reducing their rage, and then Theresa and Elsa by just skipping their turns. So it makes it such that the enemy does not have that much moves to make except for normal attacks. So this reduces the need for Themis, which is why such a team actually works. Okay, so yeah. Okay, wait. So there is one biggest problem with this team apart from the typically high investment, which is the presence of Cynthia, a true limited light mage. So for her second skill, okay, let's go to her second skill. I translated it already. So for her second skill, right, she will cast a real wiki tenkai. Okay. She casts a domain expansion at the start. Let me show you a demonstration. Sorry. Murio Kusho. Where is? Okay. So you see, okay, then she got her whole domain, this moon thing. Okay, so this domain, right, is like for the entire team. Basically, it allows the entire team to receive 50% less DoT damage. So if you are facing a Cynthia opponent with a plague team, then it's not as effective, which is why the plague team is also like, you know, shied upon. But it still works, okay? It still works. Okay, now we reach the final part. How you guys can build a damage over team time now without all the future units, even though I would not recommend without the future units. So first you will need Theresa, obviously, and then I would recommend the vampire girl. She's great, she's actually really good, and succubus. So I would believe these three are your core units for now if you want to build a plague team. And I believe Elsa should be the next unit released because her skin got leaked in the skin catalog or something. So, you know, I'm just inferring she should be the next unit. Okay, so afterwards we have Themis, and then we have our tank, Gil. Where is Gil? Okay, here. So this is one example of a damage over time team that you guys can go for now. Okay, but I wouldn't recommend because you need to make space for Guna also. Okay, so I hope this helps. I don't think I was very clear in this video because I kept thinking, but I hope you all understand how to build a dark damage over time team. Okay, if y'all got any question, just I don't know, write in the comment. I think I will read sometimes, I hope, or you can just contact me in Discord. Okay, thank you everyone, bye bye.